Hi, and welcome to the Diamond Report for Thursday, May 11th, 2017. This is your host, Doug Diamond. It's currently 8:26 p.m., and we're looking at the last 48 hours or so of earthquakes globally. And right now we're focused in on the United States. I wanted you to see the progression from west to east of earthquakes across the United States along that interior edge of the North American craton. We talk about this all the time, as does Dutch Sense. He's the one that discovered this, and so full credit and props to him. Definitely check out his YouTube channel, and also he's on Twitch. So what we're looking at here is we've got a swarm going on, a very small one, going on with mostly 2s and 3s in the Pacific Northwest. But we're seeing a release of pressure from west to east across that North American craton that I just mentioned. It goes right down through the Rockies down here into southern Texas, curves right back around and goes up into the New Madrid seismic zone right here, past the boot heel of Missouri, and then curves around and goes back down through Mississippi, the corner of Mississippi, and also Alabama and Georgia, and then goes right up the East Coast. And you can see all these quakes along this edge, and those have kind of all popped off one after the other over the last couple of days after some larger release out west. And generally you have the larger release out west, and it'll lose a magnitude or two as it progresses from west to east. So it's pretty easy to see that on the map at this moment. That's primarily why I wanted you to see that. We also have a continued swarm going on in Alaska, both in the Aleutian Island chain over here, but also closer to mainland Alaska. We've got a number of smaller quakes going on. Again, that's nothing out of the ordinary. That's all pretty normal. The only thing that's maybe not normal would be we have a swarm going on. This is still another swarm, or the same swarm, I guess, probably still going on in Skagway, Alaska. Those are all just magnitude 2s. And some of those, of course, are the same quake. They're just labeling it more than once because it's being reported from more than one agency, but it's still a swarm. It's a small swarm. Anyway, we definitely have some continued movement going on in Alaska. In the Central America area, we have a number of earthquakes like normal. However, if you look, there's one big ring in there, and let's get down. There we go. It's basically a magnitude 5, and that one is a little bit larger than we would normally see in Central America. So that's something that is a little bit different than normal. And then we have, I would say, basically normal movement in South America, and then continued swarm, smaller swarm, but larger size quake rings here, 5.0s up to the almost magnitude 7 here in the South Sandwich Islands, almost to Antarctica. And I mentioned this on the earthquake update yesterday as well. Not a lot of other changes actually today. A number of new 4.0s across the West Pacific and Indonesia, but not a whole lot of other significant stuff. So let's just go on and move to the headlines. And for one of the most ridiculous headlines you'll see all day, Mark Zuckerberg, The Rock, Katy Perry, and Oprah Winfrey are all thinking of running for president. I wonder if that means all at the same time. And what do you suppose the combined IQ total is there? This is from Michael Snyder of the Economic Collapse blog. One name that keeps coming up over and over again is Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. As Salon has detailed, he's already behaving very much like a presidential candidate. So the question would be, which presidential candidate? Is he behaving like a Clinton? Or a Bush? Or an Obama? Certainly not a Trump. Well, we know he's a globalist, so as long as he behaves like a globalist and speaks globalist words, he qualifies. That's all you need to be able to be president, is be a globalist. Watergate redo or deep state coup? This is from the Consortium News. Official Washington is abuzz, comparing Trump's ouster of Comey to President Nixon's Watergate cover-up but there's a darker deep state interpretation of these events. You must accept the result. Tony Blair squirms as he admits Brexit chief may be right. Tony Blair was at a loss for words after being grilled by a leading Brexit strategist who told the former prime minister he must accept the result of the EU referendum. That's on UK Express. 500,000 asylum seekers on German welfare handouts. According to new statistics, over 500,000 asylum seekers now receive some kind of welfare benefit from the German state. That's from Breitbart. Noam Chomsky says the Republican Party is more dangerous than ISIS and North Korea. That's on Breitbart. The UK should lead the way on free trade. That's on Mrs.org. School district bans international student trips to shield illegal aliens from border complications. Officials punish legal citizens and taxpayers on behalf of illegals. Austria on the edge. Government set to collapse. Could deal blow to the EU. Shock resignation could open door to an anti-EU populist party. This sounds like a job for Arnold Schwarzenegger. And if you didn't know, he's Austrian. No evidence of Russian intrusion in U.S. political system, says Ron Paul. Trump and Lavrov meeting beneficial for mending relations, Ron Paul tells RT. ABC cancels Tim Allen's highly rated TV show 2 months after he called out the hysterical anti-Trump left. Coincidence? Christian conservative sitcom canned. No, it's no coincidence. Not at all. I wondered when he came out if he was going to start getting blacklisted. And that was about 2 months ago when he was on, when they were talking about him on InfoWars. So that right there is a career killer in Hollywood. Top psychiatrist says French President Macron is a dangerous psychopath. Warns he could completely ruin France. That's why it makes him absolutely the perfect person to be in charge. Because that's the kind of person the globalists need. AETNA is the latest health insurer to quit Obamacare markets. Bangladesh Prime Minister says Clinton personally pressured her to help foundation donor. May trigger new calls for a criminal investigation into the foundation's activities. That's from Circa. And an article from John Rappaport, new study, FDA-approved drugs are dangerous. As alarming as the study sounds, it's a limited hangout. I'll explain. And again, the FDA is the Fraud and Death Administration. Drain the swamp. We're going to have to drain the privilege first. The swamp feeds off of its privilege. President Trump to sign executive order establishing commission on election integrity. Vice President Pence to chair the commission. Will The Rock run for president? The wrestling superstar isn't the only celebrity contemplating a career in politics. Who are these people? I mean, I guess they think if one Hollywood celebrity runs, all the other Hollywood celebrities will get behind them and push them forward, because they can then tell all of their devotees to go vote for whoever it is. But the whole thing's ridiculous, because your normal average American person who goes to movies or to wrestling matches or whatever and watches these things that they put out do not want to hear about politics from the same people they're going to watch on the silver screen. They don't want to hear it. So just the thought of some of these people like Katy Perry and Oprah Winfrey and so forth running for president is about as ridiculous as it gets. But then I guess you could say the same thing about Trump. Trump says he might release tax returns after he leaves office. Quote, I'm very proud of them, actually. I did a good job. Shock, acting FBI director is a Clinton ally. Anderson Cooper rolling his eyes at Kellyanne Conway. This is from Mark Dice. CNN, CIA, Shill openly hostile toward White House representative. White House sources, Trump looks to replace Spicer as purge of establishment advisors begins. I guess the question would be, why did he put him there in the first place? Comey's firing exposes massive hypocrisy. The Democrats are losing their minds over Trump's decision on Comey. Media Matters spins Alex Jones's statement on Jimmy Kimmel. Soros-funded media outlet attacks Alex in InfoWars. Susan Rice unmasked. Fearful lawyers seek immunity. Rice and other Democrats living in fear after Comey's firing. Trump administration says, we intend to stop Obamacare looting scheme. Fannie Freddie looted by Obama-era policies to pay for Obamacare. That's from Jerome Corsi. Should Alex Jones and Mike Cernovich attend White House press briefing together? The establishment would completely lose it. Yes, they would. Absolutely. And from WND, Michael Savage, how to save the Trump presidency. Stop tweeting, stop listening to liberal Manhattan family members, i.e. Ivanka. Commiefornia, Communist Party ban to be lifted on state jobs. This is a John Bound report. California Assemblyman is pushing to allow communists to hold government jobs. The crazy thing is, though, most of the people in California politics are already communists. Now, they call themselves Democrats, but if you quiz them on their true beliefs, that is communism and socialism. Ultimate compilation of Democrat flip-floppers previously calling for Comey's resignation. Let's expose the hypocrisy of the left.
In a November interview with 60 Minutes, Trump left Comey's future hanging in the balance.
FBI Director James Comey, are you going to ask for his resignation?
I think that I would rather not comment on that yet. I haven't made up my mind.
Huge story that broke just minutes ago, like less than 10 minutes ago. FBI Director James Comey has just been fired by Donald Trump. Wow. Huge Donald Trump fans here tonight.
Do you believe that Jim Comey should resign, Senator Reid?
Of course, yes.
It's classified and we can't tell you anything. All I can tell you is the FBI director has no credibility. That's it.
But first of all, let's start again. He was acting in concert and coordination with the House Republicans. End of story.
I'm just saying Director Comey testified this week, and he made it very plain that he broke the FBI rules with respect to the Clinton campaign, and he chose not to break the rules with respect to the Trump campaign, and that was a factor. There are many factors, but I think it will go down as probably the lowest moment in the history of the FBI, probably next to the decision of J. Edgar Hoover to wiretap Martin Luther King.
So now we have Comey putting his finger on the scale. And yeah, up until then, people thought great things about him. But this is unprecedented.
I think that Comey acted in an outrageous way during the campaign.
Should he step down?
I think he should take a hard look at what he has done. And I think it would not be a bad thing for the American people if he did step down.
My confidence in the FBI director's ability to lead this agency has been shaken.
And then at least one Democratic lawmaker is calling on Comey to resign.
And Director Comey is supposed to be an investigator who reports to the Justice Department and not somebody who comes out and makes news himself. He's gone too far.
But for the first time, President Obama taking a swipe at his FBI director, James Comey.
There is a norm that, when there are investigations, we don't operate on innuendo, we don't operate on incomplete information, we don't operate on leaks. We operate based on concrete decisions that are made.
It was, when I heard about it, I found it hard to believe that Comey, who I thought had some degree of integrity, would do this.
Earlier this afternoon, President Trump called me and informed me he was firing Director Comey. I told the President, Mr. President, with all due respect, you are making a big mistake.
Wrong.
The hypocrisy of the left is palpable. I hope you enjoyed that video. Please share. Flashback, Russia interfered to help the Dems in 1968 and 1984. Ted Kennedy asked the Russians to intervene in 1984. That's from Jerome Corsi. Powerful Pat Buchanan says mainstream media is the enemy of Trump and the enemy of America. The American people have known this to be true for decades. And more from the religion of peace. Pakistani teen has hand chopped off for demanding salary. Employer allegedly put boy's hand into fodder cutting machine to, quote, teach him a lesson. Quote, confused MSNBC host relentlessly hammers Maxine Waters for previous Comey comments, and it is glorious. You said that he had no credibility. That's on BizPac Review. Map of 2016 Electoral College results going up in the West Wing. Map shows 2,623 counties Trump won compared to Hillary's 489. Well, I take that back. This might be the stupidest headline of the day. The myth that Jesus Christ was not masculine. He cleaned the temple, for example. Well, he didn't do it with a broom and a dustpan and a vacuum cleaner. He did it by kicking over the tables and bashing people in the face. How Obama ruined healthcare, the total failure known as Obamacare exposed. And I would just add that there's no health involved in healthcare. The United States healthcare system is one of the leading causes of death in this country. There's no health in healthcare. No, what this is instead of healthcare, it's called disease management. Saudi Arabia is just defending itself when it bombs Yemen, claims UK Defense Secretary. Britain has sold billions of pounds worth of arms to the Gulf theocracy. That's on RT. Why does Saudi Arabia continue to get a pass from the United States and from the UK and from most of the rest of the Western powers? Why is that? Well, I know the answer, and it has a lot to do with oil. How KGB tactics are being used today to destroy America. Subverting education is instrumental. That's on Return of Kings. CIA creates mission center to address North Korean threat. New unit will focus on the nuclear and ballistic missile threat posed by North Korea. That's all we need, more bureaucracy. Racist note that triggered massive protest at St. Olaf College was fabricated. This is on Heat Street. The college president made the revelation after first not disclosing the validity of the note, but saying its author had confessed. ICE-led gang surge nets 1,378 arrested nationwide. 1,098 arrested on federal and or state criminal charges, including 21 arrested on murder-related charges and 7 for rape and sexual assault. Patriots must take back the government. More patriotic Americans need to step up and run for public office. They also need to just step up and start posting on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else that they can and speak up. Remaining silent is the worst thing you can do. Phoenix Trump Nazi billboard funded with taxpayer dollars. Controversial billboard funded with taxpayer dollars and commissioned by an arts advocate. Scientists receive another mysterious signal from outer space, 22nd cosmic signal of its kind. That's from the sun. No, not the actual sun, but the paper. I would just say that we're inching closer and closer to disclosure, which will be almost a complete and total lie when it does happen, and it will happen. For more information, definitely visit TrueLegendsTheSeries.com. Tons of great information and some great documentary films about what's really going on with disclosure and aliens and all that stuff. Pence says radical Islamic terrorists are the embodiment of evil in our times. Practitioners of terror harbor a special hatred for the followers of Christ. That's all true. However, radical Islamic terrorists don't really exist. We call them radical, sure, but actually they're just doing what Muhammad taught. Not because they read the Quran religiously, no. They're told what to do from the imams. The imams are basically running the show, telling these people what to do to get into heaven, and so they run out and go do it. Because that is what Muhammad did, and they're emulating what he did. So it's not really radical to them, it's just normal Islam. From the Twilight Zone, Mexicans are upset about immigrants bringing crime to their city. There has been a recent influx of African immigrants entering Mexico, seeking to eventually get into the U.S. That's from the Daily Caller. FBI raids office of GOP consulting firm in Maryland. It's unclear what the FBI is investigating and what prompted the search warrant. That's on The Hill. Trump tweets video of the Dems calling for Comey's ouster. They're mad because it was Trump who made the call and nothing more. I think that pretty much sums it up. China warms up to blockchain currency, may ditch paper money altogether. A video, liberal woman melts down over Confederate flag and falsely claims assault. Quote, "You don't care about having hate flags on your wall?" Well, she clearly has no idea what the Confederate flag even represents. And from InfoWars Nightly News Live, White House staff shakeup imminent. Trump eyes draining more globalists from the D.C. swamp. James Comey releases farewell letter after calling Trump crazy. That's on Zero Hedge. And from Dave Hodges, Deep State running scared. Attorney General Sessions has Clinton, Comey, Lynch, and Holder in his sights. Why the Democrats are running for their lives with the firing of Comey. That's also from Dave Hodges of The Common Sense Show. Militant leftists are more an annoyance than a real threat to liberty. The real threat, as always, are the establishment elites funding and influencing that very ideology, that very mob. That's on alt-market.com. 25 great white sharks spotted off Southern California coast. That's from CNN. Again, the oceans are imploding. The ecosystems in the ocean are totally dying. From the bottom of the food chain to the top. From the plankton to the sharks and whales. Everything's dying. These sharks, if they're really there, if that's really true, they're looking for the next meal. They're hungry. Part 7, Unearthing the Lost World of the Cloud Eaters, compelling evidence of the incursions of giants, their extraordinary technology, and imminent return. It's on Skywatch TV. And also, I mentioned it earlier, you can see True Legends, the series.com. School bans unvaccinated kids after immunized children start chickenpox outbreak. That's on the freethoughtproject.com. That's exactly how it works. It's the ones that have the vaccines that spread the disease. It's called shedding. They shed after the vaccine. And so if you get a chickenpox vaccine, you're liable to spread it to others. And yet, they're blaming the unvaccinated kids for the problem. Boston Herald says people should be hanged to death for being vaccine choice. That's on Health Nut News. I guess they'd have to hang me. Dangerous, untreatable superbug on the rise, according to doctors. NBCChicago.com. Scientists achieve direct counterfactual quantum communication for the first time. That's on ScienceAlert.com. Of course, you know, if they're telling us about it in these headlines and in articles, they've achieved that a long, long time ago. Mark Zuckerberg is officially the new Bill Gates. That should make startups nervous. That's on The Independent. Britain's intrusive surveillance system, threat to civil liberties and human rights. That's on globalresearch.ca. Airport face recognition could extend to U.S. citizens, says Customs. That's on TheVerge.com. Yeah, it's really just a matter of time. It'll be everywhere. Alaska's thawing soil is becoming a much bigger problem for climate change. That's on Fusion.net. New materials bring quantum computing closer to reality. That's on Stanford.edu. Quantum computers have been around for some time. There's companies out there that make them. The leading one is D-Wave, and it's their quantum computers that are powering the systems at CERN. And Google has one, as do other, U.S. military and U.S. government facilities. U.S. Congress bends over backward to prevent improvement of relationship with Russia. That's on strategic-culture.org. On victory and defeat in the nuclear missile age, why nuclear weapons are central to, if not the foundation of, America's national security. That's on All News Pipeline. The possible Comey replacement said, "If Trump made me his FBI director, I'd be arresting Hillary Clinton today." That's also All News Pipeline. And again, True Legends, Holocaust of Giants, Steve Quayle and Tim Alberino on the Hagman Report, Thursday, May 11th. Wild mammatus clouds announce freak hailstorm in Colorado. They swallow up the sky over Colorado prior to intense hailstorm that covered the Denver metro area in hail. I mentioned this yesterday, and it all had to be pretty much geoengineered. And that's using the chemical ice nucleation process. They're nucleating all the moisture they can to create headlines and stir up confusion. Muslims furious after major biblical discovery rocks the globe. Seriously, these researchers were ecstatic to reveal that they have stumbled upon the first found seal of a biblical Israelite king. That's on BehindTheTyranny.com. Is Islam not the EU fulfilling Scripture? We have forgotten to read Scripture in context. Instead, we compartmentalize verses and cherry-pick them to suit our modern ideas. That's on RayGano.com. Okay, that's it for today's Diamond Report. Thanks for listening and watching. If you'd please share the video, that would be great. If you can share it on YouTube or Facebook. I've got my Facebook page, The Diamond Report. You can look it up on there. Give it a like if you can. And feel free to share the videos with others. They're public. I also share them on Lost Arts Radio's page and on my page. But feel free to spread them around if you would. I would sure appreciate it. I'm not making a dime off of any of this. I'm just trying to get the word out on real news versus fake news that were sold through the mainstream media. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow.